I'm Angelo Luciano. I am the Associate Chair of the Art, Entertainment, and Media Management Program here at Columbia College Chicago. I have been with Columbia for just about 18 years as a tenured faculty member. Here at Columbia, along with being the Associate Chair, I also used to coordinate the media management part of our program. So I have a media background from long before I came to Columbia, which was some 20-odd years ago, and did a little contract work with TV in the way of producing films, or actually they were more educational videos than they were really truly films. Did a little radio work, but again, that was 25 some odd years ago. I came to Columbia as an adjunct faculty member, as a part-time faculty member way back. In education, as a manager, there are certain tools that students need. And in our program here at Columbia, in my background, I just had this crazy inkling about accounting. So I actually have a background in accounting and a small background in media. When I came to Columbia, it kind of fit. The program here at the undergraduate and at the graduate side has a financial string in the program. How do you make decisions without some sort of financial background? So when I came to Columbia, most of my teaching has been around accounting and finance, to give our students that financial background that they will need to make decisions in the industry in which they end up in. So if the student is if they're a media student, whether they end up doing media work, or if they end up in the music industry, or if they're fashion, or if they're visual arts, all of these have a financial string, and that's what I do here at Columbia in the department. Besides the accounting and finance, there's a marketing piece along with our program as well. There's a computer piece. There's a writing component, what we call writing for management. There's a law component in our required curriculum. So across the board, when a student comes to us, no matter what their concentration is, they're all versed in marketing, law, writing for managers, finance, and computers. When a student comes to me, when they talk about the media part of our program, one of my first questions to them is, so what do you want to do? Do you have a TV background, or do you want to go into TV? Are you thinking about a documentary in the way of film? Are you talking print? Do you want to do radio? And I start there with the student, and we haven't even talked about online communications these days, and is this some sort of an e-business or an e-presence that you want to have in the way of media? So I normally start right there with the student, and I kind of get that feel of, so what do you want to do? Right now, most of our students in this program either have a strong TV presence. That seems to be where most of our students are at. We have a few film, we have a few radio, and print kind of goes up and down. There are days, there are semesters when we get a bunch of people that want to do journalism or print media or magazine, and then we got some that, next semester there won't be anybody, and then the semester after that there's 5 of them again. And we're getting I think one of the hottest, I won't say the hottest fields, but I think one of the most interesting fields that we're seeing is this combination of an online magazine. That idea of it's print, but it's in an electronic format. And that's something that more and more I'm starting to see, especially with some of our graduate students, that they want to do this kind of journalism. I think there's a combination of all those tools. That whole idea that you need to be able to write. You need to have a good financial background, have a sound information of when you're looking at financial statements, what makes a company well. I think there's a great marketing piece to this, and the piece that I really haven't talked about is knowing people. And if you have an idea of who you want to work for you, and You know, and when knowing people, and then have a good idea of, you know, so what is my organization? Does this organization have a mission? You know, do you see us going someplace? That vision, mission, someplace out there. And if you can use those other pieces along with that mission, you know, will you be here 10 years from now? And that's always my question to the student. You know, don't tell me where you're at today, you know, but where do you see yourself going, you know, some 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line? I've always believed in discipline in the classroom, you know, and I've also believed in excitement in the classroom. Accounting is a discipline. Finance is a discipline. And there's not a lot of sometimes why. You know, why do I do this? So, you know, what really makes it exciting for my students to want to do well is I think they see the excitement that I project. I get excited about preparing financial statements, whether it's an income statement, a balance sheet, or a cash flow. And when I project that excitement, they get excited. And if they can say, you know, how can this guy get excited about accounting and finance, right? And I was going to say, and I swear that really is what I think drives my students. It's the excitement that me and my faculty project. And what sometimes is considered, oh, it's just, you know, it's accounting, it's a business course. It's the excitement that does it. Right now, as the semester's coming to an end, I normally, at this point in our curriculum, I'm hitting cash flow. And again, I hate to talk about, you know, accounting, but I'm hitting cash flow. And, you know, for people that have a financial background, cash flow is, you know, operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. And we literally look at a statement of cash flow from the Lyric Opera, and then compare a statement of cash flow to a traditional in a for-profit organization. And they're going to find that 90% of the categories are the same. Now, the vocabulary might be a little bit different because a non-for-profit isn't going to use the word net income. They're going to have a surplus in revenue. But besides a little vocabulary change, you're going to see this. It's prepared the same way, same categories. I mean, some things are different, but they have to be able to kind of juggle and go back and forth and see the importance of it. And and again, talking about cash flow, the operating section is, I believe, is the most important section of the statement of cash flow. Whether you're a for-profit or you're a non-for-profit, if you're not making money from what you're in business to do, why are you doing it? Which goes back to analyzing financial statements. But getting them to see that is where I kind of, again, and that's just me getting excited about the financial statements and showing them the difference between the financial statements. And if I can show them that, whether it's, a theater company or a dance company or a media company, and they're using the same tools, early on, I think it's all about the whole idea of first they have to learn the language. Once they learn some of the language, you get a better handle of the language, it's easier to apply it to the arts. Students today, I won't say students today, many people don't believe they have a business background. They're trained as consumers. We're all trained as consumers because we grew up in an environment where we think we have a business knowledge or a business background. And we truly do have some, but not to the extent that we have a true business background. So one of my first barriers is breaking that idea that this is not consumer language, you have to learn the language of business. And once you kind of get that language of business down, applying it to the arts, making that connection to the arts is fairly easy. But I kind of do it in pieces. First you break the consumer habits, we gain a better business language, and then we apply it, whether it's in the arts, in a for-profit setting, in a non-for-profit setting. That's just kind of the way I do it. Without ethical behavior, we're just not going to be there. There's so many people going on in today's business world doing things that are not right, and actually going to prison for it. We see that all the time in the media today. And I just approach that with my students. You read it in the media, you have to do things the right way. And that's kind of the way I approach it. There, especially with accounting and finance, there's, there are rules that you follow. And if you don't follow the rules, there's going to be consequences that will suffer. Whether you'll suffer them personally, your organization will suffer. You could end up in prison for this. And it's pretty cut and dry. For me, that way is anyway. And you just go back to that whole idea of just being a good person. You don't have to, we don't have to go out and create anything new. It's just be a good person. If you're always a good person, you're not going to have major ethical decisions you have to make. And if you're a good person at heart, you'll follow that in business as well. That's just kind of the way I think about it. I think all businesses today have a harder piece, and that's the turnover rate with employees. There was a time when I went to work and you went to work that we would work for 15, 20 years with the same company. Nowadays employees, if they stay 18 months, 2 years, that's a long stretch. They're looking to jump. They almost have to have some sort of an ethical statement or moral statement in their employee handbook. Because just the turnover with employees, again, I went to work when I was very young, but there was that idea that you went to work and you would be there for years. I never thought about the idea of leaving, that 18 months was a long time as compared to 10 years or 20 years with an organization. So I think it's the nature of the employee which actually forces the organization to be, I hate to say, more stringent in some of its rules, simply because they may not be here in several months. One of the great things about being at Columbia, it's built around a small faculty, a small full-time faculty, and a very large adjunct faculty. And those adjunct faculty bring in such a great, current data in the industry. The other piece that all of us do, even the full-time faculty, is that we also try to keep one foot in our art, whatever that art may be. And so it gives us a little bit of flexibility so that we're still practicing artists and educators at the same time. I've had a book in the works that I've been writing for going on. It'll be 2 years now this December, and I'm hoping that this December, when we get our January break, my Christmas break, I can go back and spend a couple of more weeks kind of focused on my writing. And eventually that does come back to the classroom in one form or another. First I smile, and like I just did, and then I actually pull out our basic curriculum. And I ask the parents to look at the courses that we're offering. Typical undergraduate student in this program takes Introduction to Management in their first semester, takes Introduction to Marketing and the Arts, takes an Accounting 1 class, takes a course, second course in Computer Science, takes a course in Finance. These are basic business skills. And that's what I tell the parents. These are basic business skills. From that piece, the student actually gets to select 2 advanced level courses. So, if they're, they can choose from human resources, they can take a class in strategic management, they can take a class in investments to do, another level, a little higher level of a business course. And again, my comment to the parents, these are basic business courses that you're going to see. So if you compare this program to any other business program in the country, you're going to see that similarity. The difference is within the concentration, and whether they're music business or they're media or they're fashion retail, that's where the business, that's where the other piece of this is different. But when you look at the core competencies, pretty much any business program, they compare to any business program in the country.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us.
You're welcome.